Good evening, everybody. I am here, ready to start playing some hymns. I hope you've got your hymns ready, starting with Lord for the Years 470. This was a request, I think it's from Paul Johnson, and he put his request in on YouTube. Many of you will watch our church services on YouTube, and I upload all the hymns which I play to YouTube on my channel, as it were, along with various other pieces. And he asked for Lord for the Years. Those of you that were at Synod yesterday know that we sang this hymn. So here we go with Lord for the Years 470 in Singing the Faith. wonderful words by Timothy Dudley Smith, and the music by Michael Bourne. I think I'm right in thinking was at All Souls Langham Place, but I don't mind being corrected on that. So moving onward, often on Facebook there's those things on there, how's your Sunday been? And I'm going to say mine's been the busiest it's been for ages, in that I went to Truro Methodist this morning and played for the service, which wasn't without incident, just remembering which are the right notes to play in the intro, especially if you're going to play it in a different key, then remember what key or what accidentals you should be using. Anyway, just a little something which happened, which slightly embarrassed myself and slightly amused some others, I think. But these things happen from time to time. And then from Truro Methodist, there was a chance to sort of bring your own sort of packed lunch today and have it there. I'd forgotten, as you do, to bring a packed lunch. Anyway, I had to go to Redruth to have my picture taken. Nothing to do with the police or anything like that, but for a choir I play for, they're revamping the website, so they wanted a picture of me, so I went and did that, and then at 4:30, choral evensong at Kenwyn, and I go along there and play for the choir. And dare I say that wasn't without incident either, when I gave a wrong note for the responses, which just proved slightly, well, embarrassing just for a minute. Anyway, we sorted it out, and yeah, it might be time to go to Specsavers possibly. The next hymn, 482, your words to me are life and health, they fortify my soul. I associate this tune actually from the previous hymn, but with God make my life a little light, but here it's set to these words, your words to me are life and health, from George Curry Martin. It's an English traditional melody, and the harmony here has been arranged by Rafe Vaughan Williams. had a, if I say an entertaining service at TMC this morning. Please don't get me wrong. It was varied, and I mean, worship isn't about entertainment as such, but it's entering into the spirit of things, isn't it? And we had a great time, and some very catchy songs, some newer ones from Singing the Faith, and it was quite entertaining. We had, if you have a look at the service, here's one I made earlier, whereby our minister's wife Janet does almost like a Valerie Singleton type episode session, whereby she's made one earlier, and the children were there making these drawings and sticking things together, and whilst Mark led the service, and Janet, his wife, was involved as well, so it was rather lovely. And we were there as the next hymn, which is 25 from Singing the Faith. You'll also find it in Hymns and Psalms, and I didn't put down the number from Hymns and Psalms, but it's a great hymn, and you know, all the things about 653 in Hymns and Psalms, what being at church is about. The symbols to remind us in the 9:22 service was slightly different this morning, in that they did it, the band was unplugged, so they did it sort of acoustically to a degree, and so it was slightly quieter, and then I came along with the organ and made a big racket afterwards in the next service. But the all the things, they had communion this morning, and then our children at worship, the Rainbows in particular, a flourishing group at church, making these things. So it's good to encourage our youngsters. The third Sunday in the month is going to be slightly different, so sort of all-age parade type family service, if you like. So but we had all the bits and pieces there. So this is a lovely hymn, God Is Here, Fred Pratt Green, and a lovely tune, Bethany, by Henry Smart, who was a noted English composer. So here we go. wonderful words, wonderful hymn. We who cannot live without you, we adore you, we believe. So, not far beyond, here's 477, and I've chosen this one, this hymn this evening. I am going to do you remember I talked about doing hymns from Cornwall and associated places, so thought behind this is the tune Cornwall is a lovely tune by S.S. Wesley. I'm going to play the second tune to this hymn, not far beyond the sea, nor high above the heavens, but very nigh thy voice, O God, is heard. And the words are written by Caird. It's set to a couple of tunes. I'm going to use the S.S. Wesley tune. Caird did actually write his own tune, I think, to this, but in this book it's been set to Cornwall, and I'm very grateful for Alison Spence there in Scotland, who was a member of our church choir, and she's the person that I told you about when she left. We had to find 3 other people to do the jobs that she did, because we didn't altogether know what she did, but sometimes you don't find out about people until they're no longer here. Anyway, so I'm grateful to Alison for putting together some the background to some of the Cornish hymn tunes that we have in a collection of books, actually, in this book, in Singing the Faith, and then a couple of other books which Alison has found, and in due course I will set that up, and we'll have probably a couple of evenings of Cornish hymns. But I decided that I would like to do the Cornwall tune this evening, and so I'm going to do that now. Not far beyond the sea, nor high above the heavens. It's always important, isn't it, with these, to think about the way in which the words work. I sort of try and encourage the longer line, and if we were rehearsing this with the church choir, I'd be saying, now let's just think about where our breathing needs to be. Not far beyond the sea, nor high above the heavens. It makes one sentence, doesn't it? So you've got to think about that, and interpretation of the words is just so important, and what we do with them. Yes, and there's this the verse 3. I can hear myself saying, "Roo Ted," I don't know who's Ted now. Difficult sometimes, but there we go. One of my little pet quirky type things. 477. Enough rambling, more playing. one of the things that we were thinking about this morning at church was the universe, and to grasp the breadth, length, depth and height. I know it's talking about the crucified and risen might of Christ the incarnate word, but to grasp how big space is, and all those things, it's quite mind-boggling, and the way in which things actually work. So often, it's to look back on things and think, oh well, that's how that happened, and so on and so forth. I don't know if I told you last week, but we have a sort of loose plan as to what we're going to do with music week by week with church choir, so that we have something to work towards. And for some reason last week, if I told you this last week, forgive me, but some of you may not have heard it, that I rehearsed the wrong anthem. Really got no idea why, but I had this feeling that the anthem that we should be doing was something slightly gentler than what was on the music sheet, and in actual fact it fitted so well. So you never know sometimes. Once before, when we did the music list, we planned the music sort of almost 3 months in advance, try and plan for a quarter, and when we got those of you that perhaps aren't used to quarters, all the rest of it, the Methodist Church uses this system of quarters of 13 weeks. So you have a plan which essentially covers sort of 3 months, and we planned the music, and the day in which we the anthem which we had planned some time before, everything just fitted together so well. Now you can see who's arrived. And so many of you love my cats, don't you? And I feel sure that... Come on then, mate. We've got Sebastian here. He's the noisy one. Oops. Now, in a change to the script, I'm putting in an additional hymn this evening. 267, Love Divine, or Love's Excelling. So if we do go on a little bit longer, I think it's for a very good reason. 267, Love Divine or Love's Excelling. My aunt rang me this afternoon and said what I'd chosen, so I had actually put the hymns out, but I said no, we'll add another one, Love Divine or Love's Excelling. So it's my Auntie Daphne, and here we go. Right, just have a mooch about a minute. It was their 59th wedding anniversary this week, and it was on the 15th was their 59th wedding anniversary, and this was one of the hymns which they had at the wedding, which would have been at Quenchwell Chapel. And thinking about it, was probably perhaps the first wedding I attended, not at the age of 4 I suppose, or 5 to play the organ, but just to be there. And they were married there on the 15th, and they started dating the year before on the 17th. So they celebrated there on this week, on the 17th. They celebrated the time that they first met up and went out for the very first time on the 17th of September. And Auntie was recounting it, and I remember bits from there. Uncle David Brown had built his own car, I seem to remember, a little green sports car. I remember one or two things that probably embarrass him now, but he I think my mother, Faith, who that's Daphne's sister, Auntie Daphne is my godmother, and my mother's sister, almost sort of dared him to have a crew cut, and he went off and did it. Quite what Auntie Daphne thought, I don't know. I do remember him turning up at the bungalow at Montana down at Bizzo with this crew cut. So there we are. So Love Divine, to the tune Love Divine, the Stainer tune was the tune which they used, and I will play that for you now. So each verse, 3 verses, but they're divided into 6. You'll work it out, I feel sure. So for Auntie Daphne and Uncle David, 59 years of marriage, and so many things have happened during those 59 years. Here we go. So for Auntie Daphne and Uncle David, one of their hymns from the wedding. I know somewhere here I have a picture of the wedding, and I'm not sure what's happened to it. Yeah. So just check what I should be playing next. For the Beauty of the Earth, 102 from Singing the Faith. I'm just thinking that we're now getting towards Harvest Festival time. 12 has had their Harvest Festival today, so we'll be doing some Harvest Festival hymns before too much longer. 102 from Singing the Faith. It's also is it 391 in Hymns and Psalms? I didn't look it up. There was an interesting moment, you didn't see it, but Sebastian has now taken refuge on the other computer keyboard over there, the computer I used to change the music. 333, I was miles away, wasn't I? 333, and of course, yeah, he's taken up refuge over there, and he's leaned on one of the keys of the page turnover. I must instruct him to do it at the right time. Can't probably quite see that, but you will later on. So I'm going to do it to the tune Noricum, which we'd have belonged to do it, and as it's set in Singing the Faith, for the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, and that's what we were thinking about this morning at the service at TMC. Friends on earth and friends above, joy of human love, brother, sister, parent, child, and all those special people in our lives, our friends, far and near. Lots of people, but people that we know who've been poorly, and we wish them the very best of health. And those that we think of who've lost loved ones, it's always something somewhere, isn't there? So we come to our last hymn. Once again, this is a request from Paul Johnson, who has seen the hymns on YouTube. The tune Coe Fen, which came as a bit of a surprise to me that it's not set to the words that we're going to be using this evening. And the words can be found. How shall I sing that majesty which angels do admire? The words are at 53, and they're at number 8 in Hymns and Psalms. So I checked it out beforehand, thinking I've only got one singing the faith. Never mind. So the words are coming from Hymns and Psalms, and the music is coming from 667 from Singing the Faith. So if you're not familiar with this tune, it's a beauty. It really is. Here we go. I think I might give you a whole verse play over, just in case you don't know it. Perhaps a whole verse. truly glorious tune. Truly glorious. So, various things. I am going to play a little voluntary, just hoping that, yes, Sebastian, don't move or else I really will be in trouble. As I'm going to play off the screen. I showed you that, I think. Yes, the music's on the screen and I'm able to flick it over with my foot, or as Sebastian did just now, he leaned on the key that turns the page over. Anyway, so here we have this evening a little piece by composer you've heard of before, Coe Fen. It's a festive prelude. I imagine that my aunt and uncle had sort of traditional music at their wedding. Father Lloyd would have played. They had an electric blower at that time at Quenchwell, I think. Pretty sure they did. I may have told you the stories before of my Uncle Paul, who used to blow the organ for my mother when she played the organ there, and he was a bit of a monkey. He let the wind go down so that it would not speak properly, and then he'd pump it up again and he'd over pump it so the whole thing was shaking, and offer a crafty cigarette, I think, during the sermon if the sermon was a bit long. So anyway, so there we go. So I think that was quite a lovely record that Auntie Daphne and Uncle David celebrated 60 years of their first date and then 59 years of marriage. So trying to remember the dates. I think they met in 61, married in 62. Jonathan came along in 63. So there we are. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this evening. Last piece is a festival prelude by Coe Fen, who I have introduced to you before, and it's in homage to another composer who I feel sure you will recognise, and it's a piece that I have played on more than one occasion at weddings. So there you are, a festival prelude with homage to Charpentier, the Te Deum, and so on and so forth, which I've used at weddings many times. But this is a rather lovely little festive. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Paul Fay. I see he's put out another piece today, and I've not had a chance to look at it yet. But there we go. Anyway, enough waffle for me. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and I'll be back next week. Keep your requests coming in, and I'll be in touch with a few people about contributing a little spoken piece about a hymn which they'd like to do. I know one or two people said they would, so I'll sort that soon. Anyway, good night, God bless, stay safe, keep doing what you've been doing, I think is the thing, isn't it? Good night, God bless. There's Sebastian, blissfully unaware of what's going on. Sleep anywhere. My God bless.